This is NASCAR, in my view, fixing its popularity problem with Michael Jordan. Race Jam. And the race obviously connotes the car, but it also connotes that, there's nothing that the media, mainstream media, loves more than a racial story. And Michael Jordan and Tyler Reddick are making a lot of history in a sport that has a lot of so-called racial baggage. But I'm going to broaden this story even more. This is bigger than just Michael Jordan, Tyler Reddick, and winning the first three races of NASCAR, which has never been done in the 77-year history of NASCAR. Hats off to those guys. Some of you will think what I'm going to say here will denigrate this accomplishment, but I'm really not trying to denigrate the accomplishment. I'm trying to help you all understand the accomplishment and understand why it's transpiring. I've told you all previously that one of my teammates from college, football teammates, went into auto racing in like 1988, 1989. Black dude, went into auto racing. One of my best friends from Ball State at the time. He went into auto racing. So I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana. I heard about open wheel racing, the Indy 500, followed it all as a kid. Followed NASCAR for a time as a kid, was a huge Cale Yarborough fan. Anyway, followed racing for a long time. It's part of my history. But because I had this friend who was heavily involved in racing, I've always talked about auto racing and auto sports, going all the way back to my days in Kansas City when I was a newspaper columnist, when I was a sports radio host in Kansas City. I paid a lot of attention to NASCAR, and I tapped into my friend, his name is Chris Miles, I tapped into his expertise into auto racing. He was an open wheel guy. That was his vision and plan for himself. But he had a narrative on NASCAR, like, hey man, and you could never tell, is it just jealousy? He's an open wheel guy, he's an IndyCar guy. Does he have a disposition predisposed to not being a fan of NASCAR? I don't know. But he always told me that, and he would come on my radio show and talk about it, that NASCAR is called by insiders NASCAR. And what he would infer is that the NASCAR would decide and make a phone call on who was going to win a race, that NASCAR was WWE. I'm not someone that fully bought into the theory, but Chris had far more expertise on auto racing than I did, far more. And I'm a passionate fan. I was in Daytona when Dale Earnhardt Sr. crashed and died. I've covered many Indy 500s. I covered, I think, 2 or 3 Daytona 500s, not just the one where Dale Earnhardt Jr. died. Kansas City eventually got a speedway, and I covered those races. The reputation of NASCAR is that, it can be manipulated. And we talk about this in all sports. And so NASCAR fell off a cliff. Remember, NASCAR was the dominant racing deal for many, many years, and soon it surpassed even the Indy 500. It's the most popular thing in the world, late 90s, early, mid-2000s. And then around 2006, 2007, NASCAR fell off a cliff in terms of popularity and visibility and just relevance and traction. Most people attributed that fall off to the stock market crash in 2007, and that the hundreds of thousands of fans that would go from city to city to city with NASCAR, they lost their economic stability and quit being able to afford to travel to the NASCAR events, and that's what most people believe gutted NASCAR. I'm going to posit a theory that, yes, the economic collapse played a role, but the economic collapse was about gutting all of the working class. And NASCAR built its reputation. Southern rednecks, working class people, heart of America people. People again, people that I actually, because you're talking to someone or you're listening to someone that pretty much hates the elite, hates or is very suspicious of wealthy people, would much rather hang out with a Southern good old boy redneck than some elite rich liberal white person. Give me a choice between a good old boy from Dukes of Hazzard versus some Ivy League liberal, whether black or white. I'll take the good old boy Dukes of Hazzard every time. And yes, I know what comes along with all that. Yes, they may have a Confederate flag or two. I could not care less. So how does this all relate to Michael Jordan and Tyler Reddick and 3 straight victories? Michael Jordan joined, I believe, NASCAR in 2020 or 2021. Michael Jordan just wrapped up a lawsuit with NASCAR within the past 6 months. And now here's Michael Jordan dominating NASCAR. I just don't think these things are coincidence. We've seen Michael Jordan in his area of expertise, basketball, fail in basketball at everything except playing the game. As an owner, as a general manager, failed. But now he hops over to NASCAR and he's got this whole thing figured out. And again, you could sit there and say, well, he owned the small market Charlotte Hornets. Are they smaller than OKC? I don't think so. Are they smaller than Indiana? Perhaps the Indiana Pacers, but they made it to the NBA Finals. Never could figure it out in the NBA how to run things. Great player. I'm not trying to diminish Michael Jordan, but he is being used here. He has cut a deal. And anybody sitting around thinking it's surprising that Michael Jordan, given NASCAR struggles, they can't draw the ratings that they're used to, that ESPN walked away from him in 2014. Sports not nearly as relevant as it used to be. There was one path back. That NASCAR had to play the race card. They had to create Race Jam. They tried to do it with Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is a weak, inferior driver. He's no good. And so they couldn't do it with Bubba. And so they paired Michael Jordan. He still has Bubba, but they paired him with Tyler Reddick, who can actually drive. And now NASCAR is counting on because when you sit here and think about, like, who are the transcendent pop cultural stars that give you a bit of nostalgia and connect all the different generations and isn't some divisive figure that black people have one narrative on, white people have a different narrative on? Who is that guy? When Michael Jackson dies in 2009, there's only one guy left from that era that connects us all together, who can be some transcendent superstar who's not lost a bit of relevancy. So, the guy stepped away from basketball 25 years ago. Hasn't lost a bit of relevancy. And it's Michael Jordan. And they've injected him into NASCAR. And they've injected that storyline into NASCAR. And I think it's going to produce results. I think next week, you're going to see an uptick in people. I think they're going out to San Diego. Phoenix. They're going out to Phoenix. And people are going to see if Jordan can go 4 for 4. And there's probably a damn good chance that he's got the best car. I think most people, I was talking to people Friday before the race, like, hey, I think Tyler Reddick's going to win this. He's got the best car. And sure enough, he won. And some of you NASCAR fans are probably upset with me. How dare you say this thing is rigged up? Why wouldn't they rig it up? Why wouldn't they? There's millions upon billions of dollars at stake. These streaming services are dropping checks on sporting events that transform those leagues. If you think NASCAR doesn't want a piece of that, doesn't want a piece of the future, if you think they would be stupid not to use a Michael Jordan. He's the only thing that survived. Tiger Woods didn't survive. People like Tiger Woods, but he's a bit polarizing because of it. You know, the drinking, the carousing, Thanksgiving 2009. Can't do it with Tiger. Brady's not there yet. Brady's still a little bit polarizing because of his connection to the Patriots and Bill Belichick. Again, Michael Jackson's dead. Who else can draw a large audience and make black people, white people, and everybody feel good about them? It's Michael Jordan. And that's why we have Race Jam. And that's why NASCAR has a chance to survive because of the Michael Jordan, Tyler Reddick storyline. If Bubba Wallace knew how to turn left better, trust me, they would have loved to have it been Bubba Wallace. But the DEI driver didn't work, and so they had to go out and get a real driver in Tyler Reddick, and he and Jordan are going to try to drive NASCAR back into relevance.